So, yeah, so you've got the oppostica theotikin at the end of that section.
Yeah, like the first, you had it too. Yes.
So yeah, so we'll go through the glory both now with, and then a temple and gate art thou.
But we did do it online. In other words, you had it on your computer.
Right.
We were sharing a computer.
But we can still sing through it. So if you go to the end of that section.
I was going to give you a break because of the weather and everything else, but beloved classmates showed up.
Oh yeah, that's good. Very good. So yeah, just go to the end of that section. No, other page. So go a few pages. Excellent. Keep going.
Posca 2, Posca 3.
There you go. Glory
Posca
both.
4.
Glory both now.
Oh, glory. Okay.
Yep. We'll start with the glory. Glory to the Father and to the Son and to the Holy Spirit, both now and ever, and unto the ages of ages. Amen. Cool. Any questions?
I don't think I'm getting it exactly.
Ages. Amen. It's not a flat, but it's flattened, kind of. Slightly. Okay, so keep going to the...
Byzantified.
Yeah, Byzantified. Exactly. So, oppostica theotikin. A temple and gate art thou, a palace and throne of the King, O all revered Virgin, through whom my Redeemer, Christ the Lord, hath appeared to them that slept in darkness, since he is the Son of righteousness. For he will to enlighten those whom he had fashioned by his own hand, according to his own image. Wherefore, O all hymned one, since thou hast boldness toward him as his mother, intercede thou unceasingly, that our souls be saved.
The whole phrase.
Which one?
Those whom he had fashioned by his own hand, according to his own image.
Do you want me to sing it, or what do you want to do?
Well, we could practice it again, because I made 2 hymns.
Kezoni, those whom he had fashioned, those whom he had fashioned by his own
didn't do the back. Yeah, maybe I didn't make a mistake.
And this is one of those instances where Papa Frem, who writes this music, he doesn't like to write pluses in the music very often, so you don't know where to breathe or if there's an appropriate place. But you would probably put a plus sign, one of those crosses, stavros, at those whom he had fashioned by his own hand, cross, and that tells you to breathe there, take a slight pause.
With a comma in the
Mhm.
verse or something.
Yep. Those whom he had fashioned by his own hand, according to his own image, depending if you need it or not. So, all right. Do it again a little faster. Was that against doing it again or doing it faster?
I had a hard time.
So, glory to the Father. Glory to the Father and to the Son and to the Holy Spirit, both now and ever, and unto the ages of ages. Amen. A temple and gate art thou, a palace and a throne of the King, O all revered Virgin, through whom my Redeemer Christ the Lord hath appeared to them that slept in darkness, since he is the Son of righteousness. For he will to enlighten those whom he had fashioned by his own hand, according to his own image. Wherefore, O all hymned one, since thou hast boldness toward him as his mother, intercede thou unceasingly that our souls be saved. Nice.
No,
Any questions?
I didn't do the flat rhyme. And I was a little flat on souls.
That our souls be saved.
You haven't made us do,
Nipabu?
yeah.
Yep.
Hallelujah.
I would love to make you do it all the time.
Yeah, good luck.
But it just, I know it can be a little tiresome and exhausting. So I'd rather not.
I just feel like I'm not learning anything.
With the Nipabu?
Yeah, like I'm not learning how to do it. Well, I shouldn't say anything. I don't practice. It's my own fault.
I want to keep the phrase,
Mm-hmm.
It's me.
the phrase, and the note combination in my head.
Oh.
Because that way,
Mm-hmm.
I'm more likely to remember it than a bunch of Nepal moves.
Right. But after this, after Plagal 4, which we're
I
going to go
know
through.
it's essential for my health
Yeah.
to learn the Nepal move.
Yeah, after that you're going to see where it becomes detrimental. And
But then, I also need the rise in intelligence that will.
But I'd rather not at like, at 8:30 or 8 p.m. be like, we have to do Nipavu, and then yeah, and force you guys past your point. I mean, I'll drag you along, and it'll become easier, but
Okay.
Just for the sake of doing it, let's just sing the scale.
Oh no, I don't have a problem with it.
No, I'd like to.
I'm just saying, let's do it.
I would like to. So, let's just sing the scale for now, and maybe at some point we'll play games with the Nipavu to get it into our head.
First, if you do the intonation of this scale, so we will get that enough.
Neagye Nipavu Kezoni Nizoke Gavu Pani. Cool.
We didn't do the odd, the whatever, diminished note.
Oh, Nipavu Kezoni Zoke Gavu Pani. You mean like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to do it yet?
Well, we're gonna do it all the time in this,
Okay.
in the next piece of music. So let's do it for that sake,
Okay.
because of that. So let's flatten Zo on the way down. So Ni pavu gavi kezoni ni zo kevi gavu pani. Nice.
We have a bass in the house.
No, I sing the East one, so I have to be able to sing the bass.
She's got the contralto notes, which is awesome. The
Well, lots of people do, don't they?
it depends. For a real contralto, no. You get people who are very low altos, but for
Oh yeah,
a contralto,
they change tone. I mean, they change kind of like how
Mhm.
their voice sounds in
Mhm.
the middle, somewhere there.
Mhm.
You know, like if they're really an alto, you
Mhm.
hear a real alto, which sounds higher than me.
Mhm.
I sound the same, either it's high or low.
Mhm. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you don't go like
I
into a
don't
chest
have
voice, you
a
just
falsetto,
go
and I
into
don't
chest
have
voice.
a, what do you call it? Whatever you do, it's low.
Yeah.
I sing lower than some guys.
Mhm. You can sing lower than my friend. My friend who's a monk. He and I used to chant, but he couldn't get below middle C, below C.
I don't know how
So,
far I go.
He and
below.
I would
That's
chant.
not low at all.
But yeah, and then I once
I can get
vocalized
to like
him,
an A.
and he could get really really high.
He's the tenor
Easily,
singer,
yeah.
Mhm.
So he would pitch it like I would chant with him, and I would always do Isan because I could never keep up with his note. Because he instead of Neagye, which is where I would sing it,
Uh-huh.
he'd be like Neagye, and I'm like, oh no, we are not doing that one. And but then we'd switch during like the Trubik hymn. It would go low, and it would like tag team, you know. Like I would take the no notes, and then we'd switch back off. But yeah, some of the chanters, if you listen to like some of the chanters from Greece, they're picking a note, and you're like, that is not my note. That is not my note at all. So,
Past a certain point in the bass, I have to change voice though.
mhm.
In other words, my range, it can go there, but it's one of those
Register changes.
kind of. It has like a different quality to it. I mean, it's what bassos do. Some bassos do,
Mhm.
and they get only mine
Yeah.
is hitting on different notes.
Yeah, yeah.
I think below G, below A,
Mhm.
below A, below C. I think, but I'm not.
Yeah, no, I
Okay.
hear it. You were equal to him.
Yep. Yep.
I
you're
was
my
like,
age.
whoa.
Yep.
There's a wonderful young woman at St. Catherine's who's a contralto,
Mhm.
and she's recently learned she's one.
Oh.
She's recently what?
But she's going. I told her she's going to be somewhere between a medium contralto and a mezzo. After
Yeah.
total adulthood, I
Yeah.
think she's on
Oh my goodness.
Oh. And so she realized at 12 that she was a contralto. Wow.
12. Women hit puberty at younger ages these days.
But I'm surprised that like her voice would already be that well. Wow.
She has a voice teacher.
Yeah. No, my mom, she never knew that she had a head voice or anything like that, so she always used chest voice until she went to college.
Yeah.
And then somehow they finally got it out of her. They pulled it out.
Yeah.
And then they she was always singing like 60s tunes, 50s tunes, like, belting it out.
Yeah.
And then finally in college, they were like, we can't accept you until you learn how to use the rest of this to be a music
Yeah.
major or music education thing. And then during one of the choir things, they were going and they were taking the sopranos and the tenors up as high as they could go, and of course the tenors dropped out at some point, and then you get the coloraturas that come in.
She was a coloratura.
She was a coloratura.
Wow. Cool.
She had no idea because she had never used it, and then she was topping out she was at the top of everybody, and then the one voice teacher was like, I don't want to hear you sing another thing that is on the staff. He was like, I want you up in that range. He was like,
Bolderev took Serge Bolderev took Anna Butler, who was singing low alto, but she had the periodicity of her vibrato was extremely wide. And I said to her once, aren't you really a soprano? And not only was she a soprano, she was a lyric soprano.
Yeah.
She was incredible once she became a soprano.
Yeah.
And she was singing with the city choir, and she got into conducting. But she became a soloist with them, and now she has a solo career as a soprano.
Wow.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
She sounded completely different.
Yeah.
But in Russia, they made her low alto.
Yeah.
Just because she could hit the notes.
Yeah, that's always the thing. What do you need?
Yeah.
And you become what the people need.
Yeah.
So we're going to go into Plagal fourth mode. The reason, so we did Plagal 1 first, at least this time around. With the last class, I did it differently. But because Plagal 1, I think, is simpler. There's less jumps. It's just up and down and really straightforward. I gave you some. I didn't give you it all before.
Okay.
This is the full packet.
All right.
I don't think I gave you it all. So Plagal fourth mode, this one doesn't have too many scale changes, but does have jumps. And it's kind of very familiar to us in a major scale type of way. But so that's why I picked this one next. And so our first starting note is Mi, and it always starts on Mi. And then from there, it goes either to V or Vu. And then because we're in brief, in general, it's Mi and V. That's our major thing. Sometimes you can have a cadence on a Vu, but in general not. And then it goes back to Mi. And so this is your starting part. This is your ending, which is your perfect ending. And then this is your tentative ending here, or imperfect. No, sorry. This would probably be an imperfect ending, where you haven't finished a complete thought. And then this would be your tentative ending here too. I don't know if that makes any sense. We kind of discussed this terminology before. So we start on Mi, and then if we're
talking to the least technical person possible.
So if we're in the middle of a sentence, we'll probably be on V, maybe on Vu, depending upon what the word painting is, but probably on V. So it's imperfect because we haven't really finished a thought.
Well, no, I understand what you mean.
Yeah. And then we always end on Mi for any tentative whenever we've actually finished something complete, or at the end of a piece we end on Mi. So, and then Plagal fourth, pretty much everything we're going to talk about for the time being is in the diatonic scale. Diatonic scale, which is not your major scale, but we'll approximate it as a major scale for the time being. Did we talk about numbers at all? Did that 12, 10, 8, anything?
No.
Okay. We probably won't talk about it. We'll let that go.
Could you give us a brief explanation of what you're talking about?
Plagal fourth mode?
No, I meant the 12 with the numbers.
Oh, sure. So I will try not to confuse you, and if I do, just let me know. So you have Ni, and you have high Mi. And so in between here you have an octave. So the question is, how do you separate an octave? And in Western music, we have 12 semitones, 12 half steps in between there.
Okay.
Or 11 to make 12 total notes. No, 12. And so then in the Byzantine scale, however, they don't do that. They separate it by 72.
A lot.
72 little microtones.
Microphone.
And so that there's a good way to do that is because when you start dealing with all the different intervals you have to do to make it kind of evenly divisible, 72 is a good number, you know. And I was told recently that it was actually 36 originally, but 36 was too small of a number. They wanted to make it close to 100 because 100 is the sense, like the way that we separate it out a different way. So they separated it into 72 and 72, what we could call in English oftentimes is
interval parts,
commas or commas, but 72 small musical divisions. That's what this means.
Yeah.
Or in Greek the word is moria, and that means molecule. So just a small little thing.
Where's
and,
my pen when I need it?
and so these are your little divisions. And so if we were to separate this out into a Western major scale, you have whole step, half step, whole step, half step. Right. So if we divide that out and figure out what is a whole step and what is a half step, 12 is a even tempered whole step.
I see.
Whole step.
Like Mr. Clavichord.
And 6 is an even tempered half step. And that works because 6 and 12, one is half of the other. So, you want me to wait till the end?
No, just keep on going.
Okay.
I
So,
can remember that I'm writing down Maria commas.
Okay, and I'll leave it on the board then. So if we were to separate these out, so we have ni, we have pa, we have vu, ga, vi, te, zo, and then mi. So now we have to figure out what are our intervals here between each note. So if we were in a Western major scale, it'd be ni to pa, 12, pa to vu, 12, vu to ga, half step 6. 12, 12, 12, 6. In Byzantine music, that's not the way. This is 12. This is 10. This is 8. This is 12. 12, 10, 8. So, right here, this is kind of your dividing note. This is called your separator or your disjunctive note or something to separate these two sections. Because if you notice 12, 10, 8, and up here is 12, 10, 8. It's a repeating pattern. But you have this separator in here. In Greek it's called diazeutikos, but that just means disjunctive note separator.
Okay.
And that's its function is just to separate this, and as a music major actually told me when I was talking to her, she was like, oh, it makes everything a perfect fifth. Because ni to the makes it a perfect fifth.
Okay.
Pa to ke now is a perfect fifth. Vu to zo, even though the intervals are different than what we think Western, you still get these perfect fifth intervals.
Okay.
So it actually works kind of nice. But if you think about it, if 6 is a half step, 2 is a... So 2 would then be a third of a half step.
Okay.
Okay? And so if a half step, if we normally flat something and we flat by a half step, what we need here is we actually have this interval of vu is actually a third flat. Because it's not 12, 12, it's 12, 10. It's down 2.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a third lower than it should be.
Mm-hmm.
In Western music.
Right,
So
ni
pa vu ga li te zo ni zo te li ga vu pa ni. Just slightly pulled down.
Okay.
And if you go from a tuning aspect, normally your third has to be even higher than you would expect, so even higher than what you would play on the piano. So this is lower still than that. So it has an unsettled quality. It never locks in the way that if you're in a choir and you're hitting the right intervals together, this doesn't settle.
I've noticed in our church that the Eson sometimes when Rita Romano sings it, I'm like, that is like not where you should be singing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's really like uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the way sometimes it's supposed to sound.
I'd have to listen to him, but yeah.
Because it sounds like he's trying to do the Isan to whoever's singing the melody, and it sounds completely off.
He may just be off, I don't know. But there is.
It sounds diphonic, and I think Alfred Lord, when he was recording, I think it was in Romania, where people could do very tiny intervals, about a 4, where that's an 8 for a half note. They could do a 4 or 5 or something like that, and they could do it with someone doing the equivalent of an Isan as the other part. The ability to do this completely changed in something like a 10-year period when they got radio, because our Western scales ruined their ability to remember how to make that interval.
Yeah, that actually happened all over the place because of that. It's amazing that the facility with which you can now use your voice moves out the window.
Well, even hearing it or having that.
Yeah, there has to be training, and that's so a lot of these scales end up being not exactly a Western major scale. So if you hear, when the Lord.
You think you're off key, but you're really not. It's just the way that we're supposed to use that.
And
you said it's replicated more for people's ability in Turkish makam and in can't remember the other one. Oh, Albania, in Albanian folk music.
Yeah, and if you listen to Georgian music too, they're on a completely different scale.
But it depends on the kind.
Yeah.
Seems like Hakfeti or as opposed to, I don't know the difference.
But so going up is this way. When you come down, because there's an attraction between certain notes here, like mi pa vu ga vi kezo kezo. There's attractions between notes as you're singing. So these intervals will play around. Can may get pushed up. Vu and pa make it become closer together. What ends up happening most of the time is that it's vi kezo ni zo ke di, because ken and zo want to come together. So there's this attraction between the notes, and then essentially you're putting a flat right there on this zo, and that this ends up changing an interval.
What did you say the Maria meant?
Molecule.
Molecule. Did the Greeks, how early did they know that they were molecules?
I don't know. Yeah. It might just mean like little small thing.
Little tiny particles.
Yeah. The Byzantine music, we knew molecules existed for the last 1800. No, I'm not sure.
Chrysanthos they knew about molecules.
Yeah.
And that's probably
that might be where it came. Well, that's where they really codified these, because before that people were singing them, and it was really at Chrysanthos' time that they, in the 1830s.
Wasn't he the one who actually made the divisions?
I had to look back at the history. Anyway. But that's where they actually wanted to set down some numbers and be like, all right, all these people are singing the same scale. What is this scale? And figure out.
Who was the third guy? There's Hormuzios.
Yeah, Chrysanthos, and wasn't it George? The presbyter George or something like that?
I don't know the name of the third person.
I have to look. I have it written down.
Not in my head anymore.
Yeah. Afterwards I can bring it up. Okay, so now with that. Oh, the other thing I guess I should write is at the top of the music, you have a little marker to tell you what tone you're in. And so thankfully in Western music it says play go fourth mode. In Greek it says the same thing. It says equals. That's your tone. Equals just means tone mode.
Here's the plagal part.
And then pi and lambda, which is plagal. And then you have your delta, which tells you something about what your scale is, and then your ni, which tells you your starting note. So that's just there to tell you what scale you're singing. Alright. So we'll read through a little bit. Hopefully
Can I ask you a stupid general question?
Please.
Why do we have certain Theotokians or certain feast day hymns or something like that all in a specific tone?
So.
In other words, we switch. No matter what we're singing that day, we switch to that tone for. Some, especially on feast days, for some part of the service or.
Yeah, in general, there should be some continuity to it. Like when I've talked to chanters, in general, they'll try and use the tone of the week for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then if it's a feast, somehow they make it so that whatever the hymn to the Mother of God is, they bring everything before that leads up to it in the same tone. So everything's seamless.
Okay. That makes sense.
So that way you're not being jarred about,
It still seems like.
Because sometimes I've noticed with a lot of Western choirs and like Russian music, where they sing one Trubik hymn, and then the anaphora right afterwards is a completely different thing, and it's kind of like we're going back and forth from one thing to another. So Byzantine music, at least if you do the same tone, you're in the same family, and so it at least seems cohesive.
Would you like me to send you a bunch of stuff from Optin or Pustin that's in chant form?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I will send you. Yeah. It's not in English, but you will recognize what they are.
Okay, nice.
Could you break down these symbols?
Which ones? Sure. So the first one.
What's the little dot with the thingy over it?
Right before the H. Oh, that's a birthmark, and an accent.
Birthmark.
Breath. So hijos, that tells you that the accent's gonna be on the E, and then there's a way of, at least in the older Greek, of articulating the eta, so it might not be hijos the way that they would say it today.
You just confused me completely.
Well, they might go like hijos, like there might be a.
I'm just not familiar with this stuff so much. Okay, so.
But I don't know how you would actually articulate it. No one really does.
Is there a chart somewhere of the Greek counting system?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So what does ethos mean?
The counting system?
If we learn the counting system.
I'm not sure if that would help.
That would help because sometimes they have books where the page numbers are that.
Well, in Greek, yeah, not in English.
So are these letters, Greek letters?
Yeah.
The H, X, O, S?
Yep. Yeah, it's a Greek word, ethos.
And that just means ethos.
Yeah, that just means mode, tone.
Oh.
That's just, instead of us, you know how we at the top of the page it says plagal fourth mode? That's just the Greek way of writing plagal fourth mode, starting on E.
Hold on. Oh, this whole thing, this is saying plagal fourth mode.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, how do you...
Hijos?
The H thing is E sound. H. The X is actually H sound.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
These are the first two letters of the word.
And then this little upside down Y over pi.
Oh, the lambda? Yeah, pi lambda.
Well, see, this is the first two letters of P, L.
Yeah.
In other words, the L sound in Greek.
So that's how you would write plagal?
So it's
or
plagal.
Plagios. So.
And this is probably D. This is D. So, but it's also.
I'm really slow. I'm sorry. I'm still back at plagal. I'm writing this down.
Yep. Here, let me write on the board.
So that I really know what I'm doing instead of just staring at things.
So this one, just to show you. I think it's like this.
Okay.
So, like this is the word that they're just contracting it. So they're taking the first two letters and flipping them.
Okay.
So it's a way of contracting.
Right.
I think this is how you spell the word. I don't know, but I think it is.
That's a word.
Plagal.
Plagios.
Plagios.
Okay.
And then the part we got D. This is D. So that's
I'm gonna learn Greek yet.
Well,
so that means fourth?
No, so that's a delta symbol, and that's with two dots on top, which means kind of up a fourth. I have to figure out why it's there. I never get anything from those middle symbols. If you look in the music on the first line, at the end of it, underneath the delta,
yes,
you have the same symbol.
Yes.
So I believe it tells you something about the scale that you're singing in. I know the context with the regular martiria in the music, but in the context of the starting one, I still haven't figured out what they all mean.
Well, I'm trying.
But the thing, so just to clarify, because this is something I learned not too.
And then the N means it starts on me.
From me.
Yeah. So this little guy here though, the 2 dots mean like up 4 notes, as far as I know. But
I thought it was just from the counting system. 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be 4.
alpha, beta, gamma, delta.
Yeah.
Well, that's how that would work like that. But I don't think that's where this comes from.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to ask. But it does come from delta.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just a corruption of the delta.
Yeah.
Like that.
Okay.
But I don't think that's where I think it comes from the old system where the way that you counted things was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 would be ke vi gavu pa vu ga vi. So Plagal 4 always started on the back in the day, and then over time it became to me. And I don't know, so I'm not going to speak definitively on that. I could be wrong.
Well,
so the 2 dots mean up 4 notes?
I guess I was assuming that the Russians were following the Greek system when they did their alphabetic number system for pagination and for numbering.
Mm-hmm.
So I was assuming it was for numbering because it's not different than what's done in Slavonic. And the Slavonic numbering system, I assumed, was taken from the Greek.
So you mean that it's Plagal, what it's saying there is Plagal 4?
Fourth.
And
the little dots, I think, are saying that this is not a number of a page. This is for neumes.
I can't guarantee that.
I don't know what the dots mean.
Yeah.
I was just assuming that the same way of doing counting in Slavonic was.
See, the only problem is that that's not how any of the other tones work.
Oh, okay.
None of the
that's right.
do that. So I don't know in this context.
So question. So this means that what starts on me?
The hymn.
The hymn starts on me.
Your basis note. Everything has a foundation in me.
So you start singing on whatever scale you pick for you, for your voice, right? Mm-hmm. And then you put the knee of that, and then from your knee you go to whatever the first note is.
And knee would be the E song. The
so is that just for this particular hymn in this Plagal 4th mode, or do they all start?
Most Plagal 4th start on knee. There's exceptions to that rule, but those are other types of hymns. In general, the Stichera that we're working with now are all gonna be knee. Okay. So, if you sing a dismissal hymn in a Foletikian to a saint, like their hymn of the day, then it would be different. Like let's say the hymn of the resurrection, from the heights didst thou come down, O compassionate one. That would be a different version of the same tone. Okay. So instead of knee, it would go to ga. But.
So would it have ga instead of the knee here?
Would be ga. And then it might not start on ga, but the bass note's ga. So you go to ga.
And yeah, then it would say ga there, but it would have a different symbol.
Interesting. What's the word for diatonic in Greek?
Diatonikos.
Well, this could be for that. But we don't necessarily have diatonic with that letter.
The only one I know, as far as I know, I have to verify this, but I was told that there's another one which oftentimes you see with tone 1 and Plagal 1, and it's not normally under pi, so you'll see in the music all the time this. So what I've been told is that this one I know, I've been told comes from Homeric times and ancient Greek music systems, where this would tell you that you're going to sing this poem in a certain scale.
Or
No, it's like
no, I'm trying to see. I can't remember seeing it. Okay, all right, yeah.
So.
And then it hooks toward the left a little bit. Yeah,
Maybe.
it hooks toward the left a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's diatonic. That's why I said it doesn't make sense for that, but it could be another kind.
Yeah, well, this one is from ancient Greek music systems.
Oh, okay.
And so this would tell you, if you were singing Homer's poems, how you're going to sing them and at what scale you're going to sing them. So they would write that at the beginning of music. So the Byzantines took that over because it was a part of their culture. You know, you don't reinvent the music system necessarily. You use it.
Has any music been found that's written from that?
Not that I know of.
No. Yeah, but how would they know?
I keep hearing like water.
It's our radiators.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Outside
Never
there's
that before.
freezing rain. There are ice patches.
Are there already? Is it cold?
Is it cold?
I thought it wasn't cold.
Yes.
Let's see.
You should get a case for your phone.
It's 39. Did we talk about this before, or is this new?
What?
Because I've talked to other people about this before.
I have not talked to you about this before, but do you drop your phone ever?
Maybe once.
I drop my phone all the time.
They have those rubber cases.
I have a life-proof case.
Mm.
It's the best thing. I mean, my iPhone would be cracked if I didn't have that thing.
Life-proof case?
Yeah, you can get it right. Yeah.
Yeah, you can drop it in the
one that
toilet.
has
You
the
can do
rubber
whatever.
in
bumper
water,
things on it?
anything, huh?
Is that the one with the rubber bumper thing on it?
Yeah, you unscrew it to plug
Yeah,
stuff in. Yeah.
I never knew what those are called.
Yeah, mine. I dropped it maybe once, and I caught it with my foot, kind of, and so it didn't make a really big fall.
Okay.
You played soccer, huh?
Yeah. But but so that one, at some point on my old iPhone, the case broke, and then I was like, I'm gonna get a new one soon anyway. I'm just gonna go naked, you know, just don't go with any cover.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went with no cover, and then it was no problem. And my brother did exactly the same thing independently.
Yeah.
So then both of us came back, and it was thinner, it was lighter, it slipped in and out of my pocket easier. So I don't know.
Well, I understand that.
Well, and the other part was that from a material science standpoint,
Okay.
this class and a lot of things are a material science like feat. And I was like, as a material scientist, I can't not trust in what they were trying to do.
Oh, you mean the upgrade said that they're less breakable, or what?
Well, like this glass is specifically engineered to be like, you know, such that there's no defects on the surface, so that
what
it
kind
can't
was
crack.
This one?
This one's just iPhone 5. Yeah. So then it's not supposed to crack.
Well, I see people's iPhones all cracked up.
Oh yeah. Well, if you hit it on the wrong spot, for sure.
I'm about to get my first cell phone, and I'm asking for.
You don't have a cell phone?
I also have to learn how to use one once.
You've never had a cell phone.
Look, I got high-speed internet only
Mm-hmm.
2.5 years ago. Okay, so you'll get the level of my technology understanding. And any and all suggestions, email me. Please help me.
I like iPhones. Not this.
And what kind of carrier is best around here?
Do not get Sprint, whatever you do.
No Sprint.
Apparently.
Oh my gosh.
I guess you don't like Sprint.
Well, I mean, I guess it's okay if you want to stay with them forever, but they don't let. There's a court case out to get them to release their 2-year, or their. If you buy a Sprint phone with them, they won't let you use it with any other plan, even after your 2-year contract.
That's not good.
Yep, I found that out the hard way. I had to buy a whole new phone. I'm very upset about it.
Yeah, I have AT&T.
I'm looking for the best deal of price of phone. It's looking like consumer cellular.
Okay, I don't know about them.
They sell it at Sears and Walmart.
Okay.
I think I'm on the class of people who shop.
I don't know. I think T-Mobile's good. I have
Yeah,
T-Mobile.
T-Mobile I've heard is good.
T-Mobile doesn't have total coverage across the U.S. It has big spots that don't work.
Oh, okay.
Like the South.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, that's the problem with anyone. Like AT&T, we have AT&T at home in Philadelphia. For some reason in our house, we don't get a signal, but it works fine everywhere else. Like, so it's like,
That's too bad.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where if you're in the house,
Yeah.
just call the phone. But
Having
yeah.
to have both is
Are we gonna do some more singing?
Yeah. So the intonation for this is neagia. So neagia. So that's just ni pavu ni. So we'll just sing through. What's our first note on Lord?
Is that a fourth up or no?
No, because it's.
That's on the other side, so
You
it's a
add
fifth
it
up,
to
so
the-
that would be 6 notes up, right?
Wait, it works the opposite way.
If it's
5 notes up is the 6th.
so, is that a fourth or fifth?
Keep going.
See here we have 5 plus.
Mm-hmm.
So if the little
The thing is,
thingy was
being
on the
able to
other
make
side,
that
it would be a
interval is not
fourth,
matter
right?
Entirely.
So no, if it's on the other side, it's a 5th.
But see, this is
Up 4
less.
notes.
So, yeah.
Up 4 notes.
A fifth,
A
which
fifth.
is up 4 notes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
You're
going
thinking
the
it
wrong
backwards,
way.
yeah. So you're right. It is 4 notes.
So I was right when I said this is a 6.
Mm-hmm.
I was right.
Mm-hmm. So what note is that?
Okay, so it's a 6th, which means it's 5 notes up. Right? 5 notes up?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm just wrapping my mind around what I'm.
That's a 5th. Yep. And so what note is that? What note is that? That's what I'm getting to.
Oh, I thought you said it's 5 notes up though.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking. See, I have a weird way of thinking.
Not including the first note.
Exactly.
It's 5 notes up.
Yeah, I know. I'm thinking.
Which is like a 6th
fifth, but
from the
so
western.
this is really a 6th.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
Because it's
Okay.
5 from where we started.
So, what is our note?
It's.
No, but what's the name? One more. Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's what I'm talking about. You can intellectually know where that is,
Mm-hmm.
but getting the intervals in your head is difficult.
If you're quick about it, you can sing it really quickly up the scale in your head.
It's not nice to see.
This is what you're doing.
So I think if you talk to Jeff and Patricia and John, I think they would probably think, at least Jeff and Patricia, I'm not sure about John, but like the nipa vu, eventually you get used to it and you're like ni di vu di ke di vu pa ga vu ni, you know where they are.
I mean, if you keep doing it and doing it, like
Mhm.
technically I should be doing, which I'm not.
That's okay.
I would remember it.
I don't know I don't know when it clicked for me, because I eventually decided to learn how to do it, and then it was like, it is what it is. So, okay, so let's sing it.
Could you lower that? No, that's wrong.
Yep. One. One second, one second. Yep, that's exactly right. 2, 1.
So high.
Lord, I have cried unto thee, hearken unto me, hearken unto me, O Lord. Lord, I have
What did I do wrong?
What?
Lord. Oh, we're still on the same note.
Lord, I have cried unto thee, hearken unto me, attend to the voice of my supplication. actually went very nicely. Any questions?
Weather change is going to get worse.
Just don't ask us to do it with that.
The weather's going to get worse.
Tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah, most likely. We'll see.
You're what?
I'm manic, so I can tell.
You've got a hidden. So, led by prayer.
It just hit.
Let my prayer be set forth as incense before thee, the lifting up of my hands as an evening sacrifice. Hearken unto me, O Lord.
Apparently you're boring me.
It seems very, yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bore you. I'll speed it up. So let's do it one more time, then we're out of time pretty much. Let's do it a little faster.
Let my prayer?
Lord, I've cried, and then let my prayer. Straight into each other. Lord, I have cried unto thee. Hearken unto me. Hearken unto me, O Lord. Lord, I have cried unto thee. Hearken unto me. Hearken to the voice of my supplication. When I cry unto thee, hearken unto me, O Lord. Let my prayer be set forth as incense before thee, the lifting up of my hands as an evening sacrifice. Hearken unto me, O Lord.
I started yawning again at the same time.
There's no.
My goodness.
Something about that triggers a yawn for
Yeah.
some reason.
There's nothing making that.
Yep.
No, anyway.
Yeah, it's just interpretation.
Oh, okay.
Me, O Lord, or me, O Lord. Me, O Lord.
Can you quickly do whatever we didn't do before? We did do this before.
What?
Do we do... Is the Apostolica Theotokion the only thing we didn't do before?
Well, we haven't done this entire packet. I just handed it out.
Yeah, there are so many stories that getting the right sound will be difficult.
Yep. That's why this is our next step.
And I'm too tired to look at them.
Yep. So we're done. Yay.
Do you follow older